Hello, my name is Bragan Wrights, and I am the creator of the Baldur's Gate 3 inspired HUD module for FoundryVTT, and I've just released a new module called Token Loot. At its core, Token Loot allows you to predefine what actors you would like to receive a bunch of items that you can configure. As a demonstration, I've prepared the skeleton from the SRD, and I've taken away all of its items. I think it comes with a short bow and a short sword. And then I've configured its armor so that it has, the calculation is equipped armor because I'm going to give it some armor in a second. I've pre-configured a distribution system for the skeleton, and I'll go into that after I've showed you how it gets distributed. So if I just create the actor on the canvas, we can see that it's been given a light crossbow and a scimitar. We can confirm this through its actor sheet. And it's also been given a hide armor, so it makes its armor class 14, which is pretty cool. But the way that this works is to access the Token Loot Manager, we can either go to the Actor tab and click this button down here at the loot groups, or we can go to the settings, go all the way down to Token Loot and open the manager from there. Either way works, they're the same manager. You can add a loot group. For now, I've got this one for the demo. In it, I've placed the skeleton. Now I'm going to remove it from here to show you how I can place it in there. So it's literally just drag and drop. Okay. So because I'm using my main game environment, not a test environment, we can use other modules such as the Ripper 93's Spotlight Omni Search, and we can search for skeleton and simply drag it in there like that. That works as well. So these are the actors that you're going to that you're configuring to be awarded the currency or the items that you set up inside the distribution blocks. Currency at this time only works for D&D 5e, but in a future update, and hopefully quickly, I'm going to set it up so that it detects your system that you're playing, whether it's Pathfinder 2e or Warhammer or whatever, and then you're able to set up your currency that way. For D&D 5e, we can set the ranges, like examples of ranges like 2d4 times 10, or 10 to 50, 1d4, or simply you can just set 500. Any of those values work. That's for D&D 5e only for now. Hopefully I'll get the other systems currencies working as well. But distribution blocks is where it gets interesting, and we can define within blocks firstly, how we want to distribute the items. So we can say chances, which is individually rolling on every item in this list, and then we have a chance. So as a very basic example, if this is 10, we roll the value from 0 to 100, and if it reaches 90 or above, it gets awarded this item, right? We can set any value in here that we'd like to make it more likely or less likely. And then we can set the quantity minimum and maximum as well. So for example, if the hand crossbow gets picked as the item to be awarded, we could set it to be that we want to have 2 hand crossbows so they can dual wield them or whatever. Let's reset that back. The next mode is pick n. So this is pick n number of items, and the n here is the value. So pick one item from this list, pick 2 items from this list, etc. And then all will just give you all of the items in the list. For equipment, such as weapons and armor, there's also a button here for auto equip. So it will automatically equip those items to the actor whenever they get awarded that item. And then allow duplicates is something for both chances and pick n modes, where, for example, if I said pick 5, here, there's only 4 items in the list, and so it can't pick 5 items. But if I allow duplicates, it will go through and randomly say, well, okay, well, I'll roll once on the list, I get a hand crossbow. I'll roll again, light crossbow. I'll roll again, hand crossbow. Okay, so it does allow duplicates in that instance. Same with chances, it will allow the duplicates as well to randomly roll again for that item. So I've set up a few of the equipment distribution blocks. Okay, so if I set this back to pick 1 Melee is also pick 1, armor is pick 1, and shield is also, sorry, shield is actually chances. So there's a 70% chance that this actor will get a shield whenever it's created. And these are all dexterity-based equipment, because the skeleton has a dexterity of +2 and a strength of +0, so it doesn't really make sense to give it a greatsword, for example. And now what you can see is that whenever I place a token on the canvas, whenever I create a new token, it goes through this list and says, okay, skeleton is part of this block, right? This loot group. I'm going to award it this amount of currency. I'm going to then go through each of these distribution blocks and I'm going to pick randomly these items, okay? So now if I place it on the canvas, we can see that it's been given a dagger and a light crossbow. And if we go into its inventory, it's been awarded the formula of the currency. The 500 here is because that was a flat value that we gave it, 500. Been given a light crossbow, a dagger, leather armor, and a shield. So its armor class total is 15. And we can see here it's been given leather armor, +2 dex, and +2 shield, making it 15 total. What I'm going to show you next is how to set up the distribution block. So we're going to make one to have consumables. So these skeletons may have died before they could use their consumables. They could have potions of healing or alchemist's fire or things like that. And then you can determine if in your game you want to use them from the actor itself, or like as in combat, maybe the skeleton will throw alchemist's fires at the players, or you can just simply leave them there for loot to be picked up by the players. So if we add a new block, we can name it, and we can let's name it potions. Okay, I'm going to leave it as chances because I want each item in here to be randomly rolled. I don't want to always give it a potion. And what we can do now is go into the SRD, items and spells, items, potion, and we can give it an alchemist's fire, maybe a potion of healing, maybe a potion of greater healing, and a potion of speed. You can also just drag and drop entire folders into here. That's perfectly valid as well. And then you can configure all the chances in that yourself afterwards. But for now, I'm just going to use these 4 items. So Alchemist's Fire, I want it to be a 40% chance, Potion of Greater Healing a 20%, Potion of Healing 60%, but I also want to have a minimum of 2 Potions of Healing be awarded and a maximum of 5. Let's say I'm really generous with my my base potions of healing. And Potion of Speed can be a 10% chance. You can limit the amount of items to be awarded. So, for instance, if you roll this, right, if you add a token to the canvas, it will roll this and it will go, I will randomly pick an item to start with. And it will say, okay, we'll look at Potion of Greater Healing. It has a 20% chance. I rolled less than what I need to be able to grant this, and so I won't grant that. Let's say it did that for all of them and didn't grant anything. But you're a very generous DM and you want to give your players as many consumables as possible. Well, you can limit that and say minimum number of rolls. It must be a minimum of 1, right? And a maximum of 2 or something like that. So now it will continue to roll until something is met. And you can also allow duplicates so that you can say, well, now give him 10 potions of healing, for example, if it rolls double max quantity on both of those rolls. So I'm going to leave it like this so that we always have an item. Actually, I won't. I'll make it chances so that it's independently and randomly rolled. So now I've set up this potion block. Whenever I create a skeleton, it's going to award the currency, award a ranged weapon, a melee weapon, an armor. It's going to have a 70% chance to grant a shield, and then it'll independently roll on each of these potions as well and have a chance to grant that. So now let's create a skeleton. And we can see here, we've got a hand crossbow, a scimitar, a potion of greater healing, and 3 potions of healing. It's also been awarded a studded leather armor and a shield, and equipped those as well. And so that's at its core, that is how the token loot module works. You set up a bunch of actors that you'd like. You can set up as many as you would like within this block here. You can set up as much items as you would like here as well. And then when you place them on the canvas, they will randomly roll on all of these. What you can do as well is, let's say that you have a character that you want to award all of these things to, but you don't necessarily want to award this one any spell scrolls, okay? But you do want to award that to the bandit, and you want to award the same amount of items here to the bandit, and you also want to award the bandit some spell scrolls. So we're going to add a new loot group here, and we'll just name it spells, where the bandit is in this group, and it's also going to be in this group. And so it's going to roll twice in these groups. I won't add an extra currency because we're already getting some here, but I will add a new distribution block where I'm able to add some spells. Now, using Spotlight OmniSearch, actually, we'll go in the SID, and let's add, I don't know, maybe this bandit loves to, has the Bane spell, right? And maybe it also has Shield for whatever reason, and Thunder Wave, okay? For the instances of this, I'm just going to say pick N, just so we're guaranteed to get one. And then auto-equip doesn't matter. I don't care about duplicates because I'm only giving him one. But now whenever I create a bandit, it will roll on both of these groups, okay? So both of these groups, both the demo group, which has all the items and armor in it, and the potions, and the spells group, right? But only the bandit is in here, so if I add a skeleton, it won't be given these spells, but if I add a bandit, it will be given these spells. And these will be given as spell scrolls, not as spells per the spell list. So, to confirm, we add a skeleton, and we can see that it hasn't been given any spell scrolls, but it has been given all the things from that first group. And then we add a bandit, and we can see here that it's creating the shield spell scroll. So now this bandit has rolled on the first block, right, the first loot group here, demo, which includes the ranged melee, armor, shield, and potions groups. It's been given its currency, and then it's also been given a spell from this group as well. The last thing I want to show is how this can be incorporated as a loot distribution within your game in combat. So if you use item piles, you'll know that you can turn an actor into an item piles sheet. You can configure this and turn it into an item pile in this way. But I've also made another module that just hooks into that and says, well, if it's an NPC character and its HP is 0, turn it into an item piles sheet. Okay, it'll do the same thing. If it then gets resurrected or healed or whatever, it turns back into a normal character. So what you can do in combat is if an enemy goes down and the players want to loot its corpse mid-combat, perfectly fine. They can do that by simply running over to it and then looting everything from the actor. So it's really fun in our games, and I chose this character specifically to run up here because they are an absolute loot goblin. But yeah, that works all together to create a really, really fun and interesting loot system.